if we lose a client, I know I can replace them. No matter how big that client is, like within a few months, I'll have replaced their revenue, and we'll just keep on chugging and growing.
I'm living proof. I was one man struggling 4 or 5 years. I was able to go to multi-million-dollar company, so.
If you think you're going to do it yourself and you haven't succeeded in the past couple of years, then guess what? You're never going to change. At the end of the day, let's face it, everybody actually can make time if they want to. So the thing is, you've got to realize, I'm going to stop doing some of these things and I'm going to start concentrate on doing those things.
I'm Rob Patterson. I'm the GM of the Mastermind division here. I oversee all the memberships from the fast start through all the way through our producers club, our top tier membership. And I also manage our client success management team. Just so you know, I've been in your shoes before. I've been at multiple MSPs over my career, longer than I want to admit, many years. Probably a couple of decades at this point before coming to TMT. So today we want to bring on several of our kind of top performing members in our community here, and just run through some questions that I think that you guys will find of great value. So up first, we have Adam Spencer from 911 IT. Adam has moved from kind of the anything for a buck, $500,000 in revenue to a $3 million MSP in 4 years. Adam was also a former Better Your Best winner. That's our big contest where we select our spokesman. They have the best numbers of the community, and they also win an awesome car. So welcome, Adam.
Thanks for having me, Rob.
Excellent. Next, we have Roland Parker. He's the founder of Impress Computers. He's a former Better Your Best finalist, and he got out of a 6-year rut and added over $1 million in a year to his revenue. And I know Roland fairly well from the community, and he's also built himself somewhat of an amazing sales engine, I would say, at this point. Roland, welcome.
Yeah, welcome, Rob. Yeah, it's been an amazing ride. We joined TMT in 2020, and we've seen amazing growth in the MSP because we primarily had a computer repair shop, and only 15% of our business was MSP, and now 100% of it is.
That's fantastic. And our final guest here is Mario Zaki. He's actually our current spokesperson and Better Your Best winner. He's a CEO of Maztec. So he went from one-man shop, 200,000 in revenue, to now over $2 million in revenue, over $145,000 in MRR. So welcome, Mario, if you'd like to say anything. I didn't let Adam say anything. I was like, Adam, this is your thing. That's all we're going to say about you. But let if you'd like to say anything and kind of kick things off here about yourself.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm happy to be here. I was, very excited when you told me that I was going to be on here. I mean, those numbers that you mentioned, we're still growing. You mentioned 145 we actually, as of Monday, we broke the 200,000 in MRR. So the marketing's working.
Awesome. That's great. Adam, did you want to add anything, any context?
I did, if I'm allowed to.
Yes, you are. I'm sorry. That was very rude of me. I apologize.
No, I just resonate what everybody else is saying. It's not a one and done. It's something we're still doing. We're still doing that marketing. We're still doing that sales. We're still growing that engine and making it bigger and better. And don't ever have plans of stopping.
That's great. So on that whole topic, I think Robin mentioned this a little in the last session, that a lot of MSPs, they ignore marketing. They say they don't have the time or money, or they're too busy to take on new clients. And I'd like to hear each of your responses to that. We just, since I snubbed you, Adam, we can start with you. But what would you say to that? You don't have the time, the money. We're not, we're just too busy. What's your take?
So I'm going to share a little story. So before we found TMT, our biggest client called us one day and said, "Hey, I love you. We love you guys, but I just wanted you to know that we just sold our firm. I'm retiring. This new firm, they have their internal IT. Like they're not going to need anything, but we really appreciate everything you've done for us for the years." And man, my heart just sank. And I called in my right-hand man, my lead tech, and told him what happened. And the words that he said like just resonate in my head. And he says, "That's okay. We'll just go find another client." And I felt, oh, it's good. The world's going to be okay. And then as soon as I thought that, the next thought that came to me was, but how? How am I going to do that? And I had no idea. I had no idea how to do it. And that's where you are. If you're not doing marketing, you're not doing sales, you can't bring in that next client. If you can't bring in the next client, you're going to have to lay people off. You're going to have to suffer. Like it's going to be painful when that happens. Having that engine running, like if we lose a client, I know I can replace them. No matter how big that client is, like within a few months, I'll have replaced their revenue, and we'll just keep on chugging and growing.
Yeah. So what would you say about that, Mario?
Well, the thing is, usually the people that keep you busy, the companies that keep you busy, and you're not making money off of them, it's usually the crappy ones. It's the ones that are wasting your time, high maintenance, using up, the unlimited, support, and sometimes it takes you longer because the computers that they're using, they don't want to get a decent computer. They're using computers that are like 8-9 years old, so things that you're doing on there is slower and stuff like that. Those are the type of clients that you want to get rid of, and you want to replace them with ones that understand the value of your business and what you're offering. So before, I used to realize like some of these people that are keeping me busy and I don't have time to sit there and get somebody else is because I'm working with people that are, I hate to say it, cheap, that, don't want to get a faster computer or better server or better internet and stuff like that.
So, I mean, so on that front, so if we take that as one of the things that can be the time constraint that you're really stuck servicing these low paying customers. So you can't really get to the higher paying, or you can't get the time to do the marketing. How do you start to work through that? Because I think a lot of people would say, yeah, that's a position I'm in, and it's great. And I think any of you guys could jump in on this too, because I was there. I think all of you have been there, that you say, well, ideally that would be amazing that I could just get rid of them, get more time, and bring on some better ones. But what's the kind of really functional way you could think about going about that? Or which way did you guys go about that?
Well, I was exactly in that position back in September 2020. And my wife just said to me, they've got this boot camp coming up in Dallas. We're going to go and see it. And I'm like, there's no ways. I'm too busy. It's the middle of COVID. We've got too many things going on. I do not have the time to go and waste it at going to some conference up in Dallas. Anyway, she forced my hand. We went up there. And I listened to what other people's success stories. And that was when suddenly the light bulb went off. And I realized if I don't change what I'm doing and become intentional and use intentional marketing, then guess what? I've been stuck at the same turnover for the past 4 years. And it's just like that little hamster on the wheel. You're going faster and faster and faster. But at the end of the day, you haven't actually gone anywhere. So we had to get away from that. We went up to the conference. We did the rapid implementation, and we completely revolutionized our thinking model. Because prior to that, any marketing we did was to say, I need the phone to ring, I need a customer to walk through the door. That's what I'm doing. To change, to revolutionize your marketing, to go, all I need is to add one good client per month and do that month after month. And all of a sudden, your revenue starts going up because you're continuously adding to it. Back in 2020, we had 850 clients and we were doing 2 million.
Wow.
As of today, we've shaved up all of that junk, gone down to 120 good paying clients, and our average new client now pays us $4,500 a month. Whereas back then, our biggest client paid us $2,500. Today, that would be considered a small client, and we've actually signed $1 million contract last year. So now we've got people paying us $30,000 a month. That would have been unheard of, but we actually had to step back, revolutionize the way we looked at things, and learn from other people. Because if you think you're going to do it yourself and you haven't succeeded in the past couple of years, then guess what? You're never going to change. So stop what you're doing, learn from people who have gone ahead of you, and say, okay, that's what I need to do. And once we got involved in the program, it just revolutionized our entire business.
Yeah, so it sounds like you really got to take that action either way. And the other takeaway I took a note here and listen to your spouse. Maybe that's that's the other thing. Adam, what's your take on that? So you're in that position.
Yeah.
I know you've got quite a story of like you weren't just swamped in work. You had life things. I mean, there was a lot,
Right.
but somehow you started marketing in the middle of that.
Yeah, the thing that I love is like, I mean, we tried things ourselves. We tried doing things ourselves. And I loved what Roland said right there at the end of, like, if you can't do it yourself and you've been trying for a year or two, like, you're never going to. And I'm living proof of that. I tried for 15 years before I found TMT and then learned how to actually do it. And that's what I love about like this TMT platform community is it's not just, hey, here's your campaign, go run with your campaign. Like it's a community of people that you can learn from that are there to help you. And no matter what problem I've ran into, because as you start marketing, you get new customers, creates new problems. Like the community's really been a huge, huge part to help with every step of that.
And I think that's the other thing, Adam, is it's not just marketing, it's actually learning how people have improved the finance of your business. What is the best way to set up your security stack? You learn so many of those things that you're not just going to learn from a normal marketing program, because the community is what you're investing in. You're not just investing in marketing, you're investing in that community and people sharing ideas on how they succeed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then to add on to what we were talking about earlier too, it's like, and I'm sure these guys will agree, it's when we used to market to, when we first started, it was like 2 to 9 or 2 to 10 employees or computers. We would market to them. And a lot of them didn't even know what managed services was. They're used to the break fix model. But once you start marketing to the bigger clients, like Roland is saying, like, 3,500, 4,000 a month clients, they understand the value. It's actually easier to sell to those larger companies because they already are familiar with the model than it is to sell to like a 5 person company. The sales cycle actually gets shorter. They know what to ask for. They understand what you're talking about. So we noticed that once we started going to marketing to like the larger companies, it actually got easier. And the sales cycle, instead of taking months, sometimes they just take days or weeks.
They've also got the budget to do it, whereas the smaller people just don't have the budget. And you're just spinning your wheels on these small companies that are never going to grow, and you're just wasting so much time and effort.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys have found this, but I found a couple of those challenges were like one, the smaller the company, the more it was like you're like you had to get the money out of like, the vacation fund, or like I was going to buy my kid this bike, and now I'm going to do this instead. And then the other thing was you get to those more mature companies, it seemed to me at least, I'd love to hear your feedback on this, but they actually in a way make less noise because they're more likely to have the budget to buy into your whole stack and,
buy new equipment and fix those problems and invest in fixing those. Yeah. And the other thing too is like, if you go after those really, really small guys and it's a stretch and it's hard for them to pay your invoice, They feel
Yeah.
like they're stretching and they need you to stretch. So they are the ones that expect way more out of you, way more demanding, and way less forgiving.
Yeah, for sure. So you'd say about the issue about, say, time is you're never going to really have the time, is like what I'm hearing, but you got to make a decision to go and make a change, because otherwise it's insanity, right? You're going to keep doing that
At
thing.
the end of the day, let's face it, everybody actually can make time if they want to. So the thing is, you've got to realize, I'm going to stop doing some of these things and I'm going to start concentrate on doing those things. And if part of your time is running around the smaller companies, you've got to be prepared to say, I'm going to let those companies go so I can concentrate my efforts in marketing to the bigger companies. And if you don't do that, guess what? Next year, you're going to be sitting in the same boat going, well, we're still running the little hamster in its wheel and never going anywhere.
I wasn't as smart as Roland on that. So I went, when I found TMT, I was the tech, I was the manager, I was the marketing, I was the sales, I was the everything. And we still had employees, but but I couldn't step away. I had to go put in my 12 to 16 hours at the office and work like crazy. Come home, help the kids with their homework, put them to bed. Once I finally got them into bed, that's when I had time to do marketing. And so I would start doing marketing at 11 o'clock and I'd do it until 2 or 3 in the morning. And I don't do that now, and I don't have to do that now. But if you want to make this a priority, you could do it. You can find time to do it and make it.
And at the end of the day, if you don't have the money that you can afford to employ somebody to do it, then you've got to put in that time yourself. Mm-hmm. But if you don't make that commitment to make the change, you're going to be stuck going around. And year after year, you're going to be doing the same.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If you're marketing to these bigger companies, you are now doing pretty much the same work, because the people, these other companies that we mentioned earlier, are taking up so much of your time. You're now using that same time. Somebody's paying you more. You can then now hire, grow the company, have somebody else take on some of that work, and then it starts getting easier and easier and easier. Last year on my presentation, I said I would go on vacation and I would be stuck, to my phone, my laptop the whole time. Now, since I was able to grow and I was able to hire people, now, I don't need to even open up on my laptop on vacation.
And I think that's a big thing, is that if you want a lifestyle change, you've got to be able to change what you're doing. Otherwise, guess what? You're going to find yourself at 65, never having grown the company, and you can't even sell it for anything because you are the only person that actually works in the company. It becomes almost unsellable. So if you do want to invest in your future, you do want to invest in family time, if you do want to invest in more leisure time and being able to do things that you want to do, then you've got to make that commitment to say, I'm going to change what I'm doing now, because whatever I'm doing now is not working. Put your money into marketing, put your time into marketing, and do marketing the correct way, not mass marketing, but very selective marketing to get those clients that you really do need. So it's got to be very intentional in your marketing.
Roland just has such a perfect way of saying things, doesn't he?
Doesn't he? I think it's the accent. I think we've all said some pretty smart, well, maybe not me, but there's been some pretty smart things, but Roland just has that polish to it. So you guys are talking about, I think that addresses a lot around the time and some other topics there too. I appreciate that. But now in terms of the dollars, I know at different points it seemed like a big deal to even have the money to go to boot camp. And I think that there's a general perception that all the marketing is expensive. People think of well, I got a TV ad or a billboard or something like that. What was your experience with that? Because I don't think you all just started out with this, extreme surplus, sitting in a bunker somewhere. You're I guess now I don't really have the time, but I have this pile of money. How would you address that for the audience? Roland. He's frozen. I stunned him. How about you, Adam? Did you just like jump in and say, uh, I'm going to commit some budget to this, and I'm just
So
going to make
yeah,
it happen?
I mean, it's hard because like, and everybody's going to be in a different place, right? So when we started, we didn't have two nickels to rub together. Um, so how could we do this and find those two nickels to rub together and then put that into marketing? And so we had to start off really, really small. And that's what I tell people all the time is like, you have to start where you are. Like, it'd be great if I could jump in and spend $100,000 a month on marketing or $400,000 a month on marketing. But if I don't have $100,000 or 400,000 or maybe even $12, like, what do you do? And I think that's where you start where you are. And some of those things, like, there's different answers to those problems. Like, some of those things are you've got to go after your existing clients and fix some problems so you can have more than $12. But then when you have that money, like, you've got to be putting that aside. You've got to be smart with that money because you only have limited funds. So you don't want to spend that time marketing to somebody you can't work with. And so you've got to be a little strategic on that, and the people that you're marketing to, make sure they're the right people. And then you can invest that money and learn from others and say, would this really work? And what are we going to do? I know when I joined, like, I had to put the money on the credit card. So I went to Rapid Implementation and joined the program, and I didn't have money to pay for it. And so I put the money on the credit card, jumped into the both feet, and I said, man, this sucker has to work because otherwise it's going to take me a year to pay this off. And we jumped in with both feet and did the work, put in the time, and made no excuses. So if we had to do it after hours and do it at 2 a.m, like, that's when we did it. So we got our homework done. We did those things that we were told to do and learned from it. And as we did those things, like, more clients came in, more revenue came in. And as that came in, we could put more revenue into marketing. And so I look at where we are now and like that journey we went through. Sometimes it impresses myself. Like, I look at him like, holy cow, look at what you're doing right now today. Like, 3 years ago, Adam would have given anything, his left arm, to get to where we are now. And I still have my left arm and my right arm.
That's awesome.
But it's a process. I think you have to make it a priority.
And there's some things that you don't have to necessarily spend money on. Like, building your list is such a critical part of marketing. But honestly, we just went down to the library and we decided what vertical did we really want to focus on. And we built our list, and it didn't cost us anything. It was a free library card, and we downloaded the list, modified it, started making the calls. And, there's some things that take some time, but don't take any money. And then focus your money on the things that are important. And at the end of the day, if you start as you start making more profits and you start reinvesting more in the marketing, you realize that your returns multiply 10 times.
Yeah, yeah. Well, go ahead, Mario.
I'm sorry. What I was gonna say, it's also a lot of like what Robin says a lot. She's like, it's all about going after the low hanging fruit, right? Yeah. Sometimes that low hanging fruit is your existing customers. With me, what gave me the ability to actually hire and grow right away was I was able to market to my existing customers, convert them, from break fix, and to managed services. So when I was able to do that, I knew exactly like, okay, I have this budget now that I'm going to be getting for doing pretty much the same work that I'm already doing. Now I have a budget. Now I can go and get, technician, or now I can invest it back and market some more. Now I can afford to send out mailers, and there's some things, and this is what we were talking about earlier. What I love about TMT is that there's so many different things that you can do. I mean, there's different campaigns for networking. There's email campaigns, there's, mailers, there's different things. And, obviously there are some things that will cost more to do than others, but no matter what you do, it's really, you got to commit to something and do it. And it comes back to like having the time and so on.
And if you can't afford a full-time person, you can get somebody working part-time for you. Kids that are going through high school or college, and get them to come in. Look at retired people that are looking for some part-time work to help build up your marketing until you get to that full-time marketing person. So you can say, I don't have the money to afford a marketing person, but can you afford a college kid or a high school kid or somebody who's retired to come and work part-time? Absolutely.
Yeah, go ahead, Adam.
I was just going to add one more thing that I feel like the hardest part is getting that started, right? And getting that started. But the truth is even though now we're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars every year on marketing and sales and it's working and the investment's worth it, but you still have to make that a priority. I could just take home that extra money and go spend it and go on 10 cruises or something, or I can put that in there. So it's always something that will be a struggle. Sure, right now, what if I could, instead of spending, 300,000 or 400,000 a year on marketing, what if I could spend $1 million? What if I could spend $2 million? How much more could I do? And you'll always have that. And it's no different than when you had $12 and you're wishing you could spend $24. You just have to start where you are and you'll just keep working through it.
Yeah, I appreciate all those comments. I mean, and coming back to what you guys were saying earlier about, this community and actually, I don't know if you caught what Paul and Robin were talking about is getting your hands on the recipe, getting your hands on the playbook, and then leveraging a community of people. So then wherever you are in the financial or time story, that you can figure out how to best maximize those resources. Would you guys agree that that's, seems like that's what all of you have done one way or another? You got to the information and then leverage it, as you could.
Right.
Yeah, you're always learning. Sorry, Adam, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, you're always learning. I mean, I know in Producers Club, we meet with our group every week. We bounce ideas. We get, every week we're talking about something and somebody's mentioning a new platform they're using for something or a new vendor that either helps increase either sales or support or something. And you start following these different conversations and groups, and all of a sudden you start getting things that start operating a lot better. And now it for us, it's the company now pretty much runs itself. I can take a day off, and not have to, not to be, worried. I don't have to check in. You follow the recipe and everything just falls into place.
Yeah, I had another question on here, but I think you guys really have answered this to a large extent of what some of those other benefits are other than making money to get the sales and marketing engine rolling. What I'm hearing is you have time for other things. There's some leisure activities. You can, step back and actually manage the business and scale. We only have a couple minutes left here, so I wanted to give you guys an opportunity to answer this. So if someone out there listening to this was on the fence about joining one of our programs, but they're maybe they're a bit skeptical of it, what would you say to that?
That's the position I think a lot of us were in. I was in that position. I went across to the roadshow in Dallas, and it revolutionized our entire business structure. Everything that we're doing has completely revolutionized, and we've changed our entire business model, but it's also changed our entire lives. So if you're on the fence of doing it, you've just got to look at, if what I'm doing isn't working, I've got to make a change. And this has been the best investment in change that I've made in my entire life.
That's amazing. Thank you for that.
What I would say to them is do it, because if your competition is doing it, I know even here, I come across people all the time that are close to that, in my area that are also, I see them at boot camp or meetings and stuff like that. I mean, I'm living proof. I was, a one man, and struggling, and just in 4 or 5 years I was able to go to multi-million-dollar company. So
Right.
So it works. The marketing definitely works.
It's great.
Yep. I think I can
Adam,
just resonate.
I snubbed you to start. I want to give you
Okay.
the final word.
The final words.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think just resonate the same thing they're saying. This is not an easy button. Like, don't think that it's an easy button. That I think the people that don't succeed in this program are looking for that easy button and thinking this is the easy button. Like, it's not an easy button, but in my belief, there's no easy button in life. Like, but this is what's so cool is you have full control of your future. They'll teach you the things that you need to do, and you decide if you want to do them, and you decide at what level you want to do them, and you decide how successful you want to be. And Mario's gone to a multi-million-dollar company. I've grown to a multi-million-dollar company. Roland was already successful, and he's even more successful now. And there's so many successful people out there that have done this. Like, it can't just be a hoax. It can't just only work for some people, and they're in different markets. Like, I'm in Utah, and they're spread out all over the world, and it's working for people in Canada and Alaska even. And like, it doesn't matter where you are. Like, it can work for you, but you've got to put in the work and do it. And I'd say do it.
Exactly.
Awesome. Mario snuck in one more word. He stole it from you. guys,
he deserved it. I'll let him have
it. Thanks so much for coming on here. I really appreciate you sharing your stories and your insight on this.